Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of Hong Kong Horror. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something that everyone in Hong Kong knows about. You may have heard of something called hunga, which refers to a stigmatized property, a unit where someone has died. Whether it's murder, someone ending their own life, or even if it's just an accidental or unattended death, once it happens inside, the place is forever marked. In Cantonese, Hong means ominous, and Zai means residence. Together, it basically means ominous residence. Because of strong cultural taboos surrounding death and spirits, these properties are always heavily discounted on the market, sometimes by 30% or more. But that's not always a good thing. It's very similar to Japan's accident properties. The key difference is that in Japan, real estate agents are required by law to disclose if a recent unnatural death happened, usually within the last 3 years. But in Hong Kong, there's no law saying that they have to list a property as such unless you ask. If asked, then they must answer honestly, even if the death happened decades ago. So, unless you know what to look for, or you ask the right questions, you might end up living in a place with a very dark history. But for the most part, most agents are very upfront about this. Even if they don't say anything, it's usually pretty obvious from the price alone. There are a ton of stories revolving around these types of units. Our story tonight will be one of those. After the story, I'll dive a little deeper into the cultural beliefs. So if you're interested, stick around till the end. A few years ago, a real estate agent in Hong Kong was approached by a family of 4, a husband and wife, Howard and Mandy, with their 2 children who were 13 and 15 years old. They were looking to rent a modest apartment, something affordable. The agent had just a place, a unit in the exact area they were looking for, listed at slightly below market price. On paper, it ticked all the boxes. Good location, functional layout, quiet building, and most importantly, it wasn't a haunted unit. No one had died inside, but the unit right next door was a hunger. A woman who had once lived there had jumped to her death from a balcony. The flat had remained empty since, and because the 2 units were so close, sharing only a thin wall, this unit that the agent wanted to show had also become hard to rent. So the owner was willing to go slightly below market price. The 2 units had an L-shaped layout, meaning that from the living room, you could see directly into the living room of the haunted unit. Although no one had died in this current unit, that view alone was enough to turn most renters away. To his credit, the agent was completely transparent about the whole thing. He told the family up front that the next door unit was a hunger. A woman had taken her own life there. Though this unit was clean, some people do mind, which is why the price was below market. Howard and Mandy didn't mind. They weren't religious, and they didn't believe in ghosts, spirits, or anything supernatural. To them, it was just a sad story, someone else's tragedy. And at the price the owner was asking, it felt like a great deal. They came in for a showing, liked what they saw, and signed the paperwork within days. The couple moved in with their 2 children and their live-in helper, May, from Indonesia. For those unfamiliar, in Hong Kong, it's very common for families with children to hire live-in domestic helpers, usually from the Philippines or Indonesia. They help with childcare, cooking, cleaning, and are often the quiet backbone of the home. Now keep in mind, the family knew about the haunted unit next door. But they didn't tell May, not because they wanted to hide anything exactly. They just didn't feel it was necessary. They weren't superstitious and assumed May wouldn't be either. Instead, they gave her one simple instruction. Keep the living room blinds closed unless you're cleaning the window. No need to have them open otherwise. Though not superstitious, it wouldn't hurt to be safe. May didn't ask why. She simply followed the instruction and kept the blinds closed unless she needed to go out to the balcony to hang clothes to dry. Howard and Mandy worked during the day, and both kids were in school, so most of the time it was just May at home by herself. She kept busy with household chores, washing laundry in the morning, hanging it on the balcony, preparing ingredients for dinner, and later heading out to pick up the children from school. For about a month, everything was normal, until the sounds began. It started subtly. Howard and Mandy's bedroom was closest to the unit next door. Their bed's headboard was pressed up against the shared wall. That was where the sounds came from. It always happened sometime between 2 and 3 in the morning. Just a few fleeting moments each night, but enough to wake Mandy. At first, it sounded like muffled arguing, voices just beyond comprehension. Then sometimes there were other noises, furniture scraping across the floor, a chair being dragged, a drawer slamming, something heavy shifting. It didn't happen every night, but every few nights it returned. One night, Mandy pressed her ear to the wall, trying to confirm that the noise really was coming from the unit next door. The moment she did, the sound stopped. The strange thing was that she was the only one who ever heard it. Howard slept through everything. Maybe she was just a light sleeper. That was what she told herself. It was weird, yes, but not terrifying. Not yet. Then something else began happening. Every morning, when Mandy stepped into the living room, the blinds were open. At first, she assumed May had opened them. But when Mandy casually reminded her to close them after opening them, May looked genuinely confused. "Ma'am, I didn't open them," she said softly. "I close them every night before bed. I thought maybe you opened them." Mandy said nothing. She simply nodded and went on with her morning. But this was the 4th time the blinds had been opened, and it wouldn't be the last. One night, Mandy couldn't sleep. It was late, sometime past 2 in the morning. The flat was silent. Howard slept beside her. The children were asleep. She went to the kitchen for a glass of water. As she stood there sipping, she noticed movement in the living room. The blinds were moving. Slowly, jerking open a few centimeters at a time. Pause. Another twitch. Another slight opening. Mandy stepped closer. Then she saw it. A thin, pale hand with long nails gripping the bottom of the blinds, slowly pulling them open, as if someone on the other side was trying to peek through. Mandy's breath caught in her throat. She backed away and ran to the bedroom. She didn't wake Howard. He would never believe her. The next morning, she quietly asked May if she had noticed anything strange happening in the apartment. May thought for a moment, then she shrugged. Nothing strange, really, except the woman next door. Mandy froze. May continued casually. When I hang laundry on the balcony, the woman next door is always there watching me. I wave and say hello, but she never waves back. She just stares with a really mean look on her face. Mandy felt her stomach twist, because no one lived next door. The unit had been empty for years. That afternoon, Mandy contacted a few friends who believed in the supernatural. By evening, she had a name, a Taoist priest. He agreed to come the next day. That night, the noises returned, muffled voices, furniture scraping, something dragging across the floor. Mandy pressed her ear to the wall again. Silence. Then suddenly, bang, 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 violent knocking exploded through the wall. Later that night, she noticed the balcony door was open. Cold air drifted into the living room, and outside, on the balcony, stood May, barefoot, still in her pajamas, staring toward the empty flat next door. Mandy called her name. No response. May slowly lifted one leg, as if she were about to climb over the railing. Mandy rushed forward and pulled her back just in time. They collapsed onto the floor. May looked confused. She had no memory of walking outside. The next day, the Taoist priest arrived. After listening to everything Mandy explained, he said calmly, "The problem is not in this apartment. It's next door." The spirit of the woman who died had not crossed over, because the two apartments shared a wall and balcony line of sight. The spiritual energy could bleed through. Since he couldn't enter the haunted unit, he couldn't banish the spirit, but he could build a spiritual barrier. He lit incense in every corner, placed yellow talismans on the shared wall, the balcony door, and the window, burned offerings, sprinkled blessed water, rang a bronze bell to break lingering energy. Finally, he finished the ritual. Things changed after that. The noises stopped. The blinds stayed closed. May never sleepwalked again. Weeks later, Mandy asked May one more question. "Do you still see the woman next door?" May paused. "Sometimes," she said quietly. "But now, she just walks inside her own apartment. She doesn't stare at me anymore." So what really happened? Were Mandy and May imagining things? Or were they simply more sensitive to yin energy, something traditional Chinese belief says allows certain people to sense spirits? In Hong Kong, homes where someone has died carry a heavy stigma. Many people refuse to live not just in those units, but even next door, because some believe the energy of death lingers, sometimes for years, sometimes longer.